Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I have my dad with me here today, Mike, the birthday boy actually. He was born on April Fool's Day. Sorry, I've thought about a lot of jokes I used to make about your life being a joke when I was a kid, which makes me sad now. Yeah, that was horrible. Anyway, we're back for episode 2 of our coaching series, and we are gonna go through a really hard truth today. But like I said last time on our first video, this will be a lot more long form. So cook dinner. Some of you were like exercising the last time you listened to episode 1. Press play, sit back and relax, and enjoy the show. Just for some of our credentials before we get started, I am obese and losing weight on Carnivore. It's okay, that's not a cuss word. It's just true. I'm losing weight on Carnivore. I've been on Carnivore now we're going into month 3. Today's my 60 days.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And this is actually the second round of Carnivore that I am doing. My first time doing it was in 2024. And if you have not really heard either of our stories before, if this is your first time here, I lost 75 pounds with Carnivore in 2024. And I quit after a couple of months and proceeded to gain half of it back during 6 months of just going crazy. And he never quit. He's been on it for over a year, and he lost all of his weight, has maintained now for probably what, like 6 months?
Oh yeah, I probably have been in maintenance mode for probably about 8 or 9 months.
We both have some strong ties with Carnivore. His is a love affair with Carnivore. Mine is a tumultuous relationship with Carnivore. But today we wanted to talk about this idea that no one is coming to save you. And that's so extremely harsh, but it's just a really raw truth. You know, we shared in a past video that in the past, he's always been like a big cheerleader and really encouraging me during any sort of like weight loss venture. But this time around, I asked him to be my accountability partner and my coach, because those are very different asks of a person, honestly. And so many of you have shared that you don't have an accountability partner or somebody that you're doing this with. And so we're just gonna let you in on conversations we've had even up to this week, and kind of the stuff that we talk about between each other, and just this idea, no one can do this for you, and no one's coming to stop you from a path that you're going down, which is such a harsh reality.
Most people in your life, hopefully, they just love you, and love should be unconditional for sure. So you really have to give people permission. You have to tell them exactly what you would like them to do, and then you have to hope and expect that they will do that, and you can never like get upset when they do it. So if you have someone that's close to you, even if they're not doing Carnivore with you, and you trust them enough to give them permission to hold you accountable, then just tell them, I would like you to send me this message, you know, every Saturday or every Wednesday and Friday, or whatever interval you want, and just tell them what to ask you. And say, what was your weight today, or how much did you lose or gain last week, or whatever. Just give them a script, because people want to help you, but they're not going to do what they feel is being mean, or, you know, if they don't feel like it's their business. Or whatever. And that's actually what happened the first time around with Alex, is that we were because we were cheering her on, and we would ask her, well, usually we didn't have to ask her, she would just let us know, oh, I lost 5 pounds last week, or whatever, and we would celebrate that with her. But then there were those weeks where she didn't say anything, and so I'm like,
you can guess what happened on those weeks.
It was just hard to ask her if she wasn't just coming out and saying it. And so I think that the key is just, if you want to get somebody, you want to recruit somebody to be your accountability partner, let them know that you really appreciate them for doing it, that you really need the accountability. And then just give them a little script, and to say, if I call you and say, hey, I'm thinking about having a crave cookie today, you say, I'm sorry, but you cannot. And then to say, okay. Just a random hypothetical.
Yeah, who would do that?
I don't know where I came up with that one from. Give them permission to tell you no.
and listen to them. There's
Yes.
really no point in having an accountability partner if you're not going to listen to them.
Right.
And I will say it makes a difference whenever you're choosing someone to take advice from. You need to admire that person, and you need it to be somebody that you would not mind swapping places with.
Yeah.
And I think that's what made a big difference for us this time. We've always dieted together, and we've always equally been in the same boat of we need this, you know, individually. And this was really the first time where like he succeeded and I failed, and he kept going by himself, and to the point where like we weren't on the same page, and he already arrived and I hadn't. And so I think that makes a big difference too. Anything he's telling me, it's coming from a place of he successfully did this and I didn't. And so it's a little bit humbling and a little bit, you know, my pride's hurt a little bit, but at the same time it's for my benefit, because it's not like we're both like, hang in there, don't give in. Like he really didn't give in, and he really did make it. It's good for me to see we're not equals right now, and that's okay. But if you're looking for somebody who is going to be your partner, maybe they should be healthy. Maybe they shouldn't also be in your boat. You know, it's one thing to do it together, like for camaraderie, but that person is struggling with everything you're struggling with. So maybe look for somebody else who has already done this, you know?
Yeah. And the other thing about me and Alex being so much the same is that I always tell Tanya, because Tanya will be like, well, just don't do it. Or just, you know, to her, it's very black and white, very easy. But me and Alex have so much in common that I know the struggle, I know the triggers, I know the things that can help and the things that can hurt.
Yeah.
And so I just know her better that way than Tanya does. So Tanya makes a great cheerleader, but she does not make a great coach.
Yeah, she just wants to be nice.
Yes.
But the nice thing is to tell them the hard thing.
And I think that's the key, like at the very beginning, and you're going to need this anyway. So just get this ready. We talk about your why, but you almost need to have this kind of vision for your future self. And the why ties into that. So you want to be you want to be healthy, you want to have a lot of energy. If you've got ailments that you're trying to overcome, if you got healing that you need, just list all that out. And then when you talk to people, especially someone you're going to have help you be accountable, say, you know, I'm really afraid that I'm pre-diabetic right now. I don't want to have diabetes. I'm overweight right now, and I'm not very active, and I can't do things, and I just can't imagine what's my life going to look like 20 years from now? What's my life going to look like 50 years from now? I want to be strong and active and healthy. This is a long-term goal that you're shooting for, and it's not going to happen overnight. And you just sometimes have to let people know why you're doing it, because there will be people when you lose the first 20 pounds that they're going to say, oh, you've lost enough, you can stop. You know, why are you doing this to yourself? You need to just set the entire goal and then make sure they understand that it's, you know, all the reasons why you're doing it.
Yeah. Okay, so just getting started, I think a wake-up call for me was nothing will naturally change unless I change it. Whenever you have really bad habits, like overeating or sugar addiction, all this kind of stuff, you would have to be crazy to think that one day that will just stop. And if you are gaining, let's just say for kicks, 10 pounds a year, okay, that would be, for me, that would have been a good year. I would have considered that almost losing weight, honestly. But let's just say 10 pounds a year, okay?
Which is less than a pound a month.
Yeah.
And you barely recognize a pound a month on the scale.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But we're just gonna blow it up by 10, and in 10 years, you will be 100 pounds heavier.
Yeah.
And this type of mentality, I really did not understand until I watched this scale. I watched myself gain 100+ pounds, and I was like, oh my gosh, math. I could sit there shocked all day, but at the end of the day, what made me think that wasn't gonna happen? I mean, when you look at the trajectory that you're currently on, if you are actively gaining weight consistently, the only thing that's gonna stop that is you. You can't just assume my body will just hit its mark or we're gonna just tap out here. I've never seen that happen to anybody.
Yeah, and I can remember telling you that in the past, where it would be like, I'm like, if you look at what you've gained in the past, 6 months or something, I said, just multiply that out. And there's always gonna be an excuse that you can use. Oh, it's the holidays, or we had a wedding to go to, or, and so we justify these things in our mind, and that may be true for a little portion of it. But again, when you look at it in the long term, you realize, well, there's just one excuse after another. And so you're like you said, you're not going to magically wake up one day and that desire to eat bad is going to be gone, and then it's going to be easy. So that's the hard part.
And I remember whenever I was at the end of 2024, and I had gained back half of the weight I had lost, which I had worked so hard for. And that's what's so hard about it. You know, like you work so hard for it and then you blow it all. And it's so easy to blow it all. So hard to get there, so easy to blow it all. And my mindset was like, oh, you know what? I still lost 40 pounds though. You know, at least I still lost 40 pounds.
Yeah.
And that's not like a bad way to think about it. Now it's like, I know that I've lost 27 pounds since January 1st of this year. And all I can think of was I would have lost 100 pounds by now had I never gained back half of it. It can be a really like hard thing to confront yourself on. And I'm not saying if you've gained a significant amount of your weight back, don't dwell on it. That's not going to do you any good. I'm just saying that don't continue in this cycle or pattern. If you have maybe started cheating a little bit or giving way to certain things or introducing fruit back, all this kind of stuff, and you're seeing those numbers go back up, don't assume that you're just going to get a grip on it one day. If you can't get a grip on it today, why would you be able to tomorrow? Like, just stop yourself. You know, we all know where this is going. Just stop yourself. Another thing, I've had so many people comment, more so on TikTok, why didn't I just do Ozempic, or why didn't I just do Mounjaro? And we were a family. We didn't have a lot of health insurance. We didn't go to the doctor, y'all, okay? So I grew up with an innate fear of the doctor, and I also grew up with an innate desire to do things naturally, and I'm not gonna knock anybody who is using those. That medicine is very needed for a lot of people. I would have gained it all back if I had done it on that shot, and I'm telling you why. It would not have changed my eating habits whatsoever. And so I've had friends who, like, it has changed their life, changed their health. They haven't gained it back. They're great. They had a different level of discipline and self-control than I personally had. Like, if I didn't work for it in this way, and I'm not saying they didn't work for it, a lot of people couple, you know, taking the shot and a lifestyle change. I have to suffer, and I don't know how else to say that. Everybody's different. You know, what you need to do might be different from what we need to do. This was just for us. But going on to the second thing, and this kind of ties into that, is motivation is not enough to keep you going. There's been times in peaks in my diet where it's like nothing that you do or say will get me off of this. You know, like you can like shove cake in my face and like it will not matter. I literally remember one time on Carnivore last time, I was literally making a cake like from scratch in my kitchen, and I can't eat any of it, and my fingers are covered in icing and cake, and like I washed it off. I did not care. Last week, like I had a really rough day one day, and I texted my dad and I'm like, I'm getting a Crave cookie. And he's like, no. And I was like, I've had such a bad day, please. And he's like, no. And I was like, okay. I mean, like, what else? He doesn't need to justify his no. I've asked him to do that, you know, and I could have been sneaky and not texted him at all about it, but that's not really what I wanted, you know.
And that's what caused the problem ultimately in the first time around, is that one day of cheating, next thing you know, it's the next day, and it just gets so much harder, because then you will quiet down that noise in your head for the sugar cravings. If you're just starting, I mean, it might take a couple of weeks, it might take a month. Some people say it takes 2 months, but they'll start going away. You can shut them up. But the minute you give them a little taste of it, they are going to come back screaming at you.
I said in a past video, like when I cheated the first time on Carnivore ever on day 86. And on day 87, it was day 1 again. Because the minute you put that back into your body, everything you thought your body has been conditioning for, it forgets. Like it goes right back to, oh my gosh, this is what sugar tasted like, because it's addictive. You know, it's not you. Sugar is addictive. And so your body, if you're in the same boat that we were in and I'm currently in, you are an addict to food, to sugar. And your body doesn't operate the way that a normal, you know, body is supposed to. And so that's why when people ask, why can't we have fruit? That's why. I would gorge myself on fruit. If you could have fruit on Carnivore, I would gain weight, because I would eat so much fruit, it would be counterintuitive.
Which is what happened whenever you got off of Carnivore and you went animal-based, because it allowed fruit. Get to your goals, get to maintenance mode. When you get to maintenance mode, you do you. Now, we get people on our channel will say, why in the world would you ever change your diet? If you lose 100 pounds, or if all of your ailments go away, why would you why would you even consider going back to the way it was? And that's a great question. That is a very logical way to look at it. But what I tell people is, if you're looking at it at the beginning and saying, there's no way I'm gonna do this for my entire life, then just do it until you reach your goal. Yeah. Then you can evaluate it, and you might can add a few things back. But obviously nobody wants to gain everything back. Nobody wants to get all their pains coming back or their high blood pressure and all that. But you're not in the position to make that call on day 1 or even on day 30. Get to day 365 and then be living pain-free and with energy and all that, and say, do I want to go back to the way I was? And the answer is going to be no.
Well, and when you think about it, like, this is just a harsh truth, but I need to lose about 100 pounds. You know, that's my desire, to lose 100 more pounds from today's weight, this morning's weight. I am not in the same boat as someone who just needs to lose 10 or 15 pounds. Yeah. We are not the same. And so what they can do and what they can start adding in, and if they choose to be a little bit looser with it, that's not me. Yeah. Like, it will not have the same effect on the two of us. Yeah. And so you just have to be honest with yourself. Where are you in your goal and in your health? More than a weight, where are you in your health? Can you afford to give any inch? You know, are you gonna take that mile? So that's important. But when it comes back to motivation might get you started, but it really is just like a mentality that you will not budge that's gonna keep you going. And when you don't have that, that's why you need accountability. Because I don't know any person ever who is perfect every day and can say, I want to do this today 100%, and nothing is ever gonna like make me slip up. But having a partner really helps, and consuming content and things that do keep you motivated. I think motivation is a very surface level emotion, whereas grit and like an endurance is like in the soul, you know, like it's deeper than that.
Yeah, consistency will always do better than intensity. Yeah. So you can come out the gate sprinting and just gung-ho. The most important thing is every day. Yeah. Consistent.
And he always tells me that, because I'm just being honest. I don't want to do carnivore for the rest of my life, and hopefully I don't have to. Okay, that's kind of how I look at it, and I'm always very transparent about this, and people may disagree with this. I understand. I'm 28. I can't picture eating this way for the rest of my life, but the way I ate my whole life got me to this point, you know, so I'm also just being realistic about that. But he always has to tell me, you're doing carnivore today. Yeah. You're not doing carnivore for 365 days. You're doing it today.
Yeah, just get through today, worry about tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, this leads in perfectly to the third thing, which is I'm gonna wait for the perfect time to start. And today's April 1st, but by the time you are seeing this, it will be April 3rd. And I've had a lot of people tell me that they're starting carnivore on April 1st. I really hope you started today.
Hopefully that wasn't an April Fool's joke.
Hopefully that was not April Foolsing me, or really April Foolsing yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, but it is so easy to wait for the perfect time to get started, and there isn't one. No. There's no perfect time. That is such a myth. I think it's a lie we tell ourselves to delay what we don't want to do.
It's just another excuse. It's like, I'm going to start tomorrow. I'm going to start Monday. And that turns into, I'm going to start the first of the month. And it's going to be, I'm going to start for New Year's. And you'll spend your life in perpetual gonna start in the future. And the real danger for this is, if you're wired like me and Alex, is that if I knew I was going to start carnivore Monday, then you can bet that this weekend I'm going to just
binge.
I'm gonna binge. There's gonna be no sweet left behind. It's gonna be a cake Armageddon. I mean, it's gonna be like, I'm gonna just wipe it all out. And I've done that. You know, I've done all these different diets, and I'll have that binge, and then it's like, I'm starting now 5 pounds more. Yeah. Now I gotta lose the first 5 pounds just to get back to even. Yeah. And that's what you don't want to do. And whenever you work hard, and when those pounds start coming off, and maybe it takes a week or two to see the scale start coming down, the last thing you want to do, and that's what I would try to tell Alex the first time around, I'm like, why would you in these few hours of eating bad throw away a week's worth of discipline and hard work? Yeah. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it.
Well, and I started to feel like a debt I owed myself, you know, like a debt I owed to the version of me that all week said no, you know, and then who am I in my present moment to be like, forget her, you know, forget all the labor she did, you know, all the things she overcame. I'm just gonna do whatever I want right now. That's so unfair to yourself for what you've been working for, honestly. In the month of January, February, I did animal-based while we were fasting with our church. And so usually the church will give up like no meats, no sweets. So I gave up no sweets, no processed foods, no soda. And it's by all means a very healthy way to eat, but it was very balanced. There was really nothing else I restricted myself on. And I did lose weight, but I had decided that I was going to start carnivore on February 1st. And so I fought tooth and nail to lose like 12 pounds that first month, and I lost it. And I gained literally 4 or 5 pounds back when I decided I was going to start carnivore, because I was like, well, I'm about to never see this stuff again. So like, I'm just going to eat whatever I want.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how discouraging it is to work so hard to lose weight you literally lost the week before.
Yeah.
The weight you literally lost the week before, but you gained it back, and all this striving to like lose the 5 pounds only to be at the number you just were at.
Yeah.
That drives me nuts. But it's why carnivore is so nice, because it's like you're gonna reach depths that you haven't been at in a long time, and it really won't take that long.
Right.
It probably won't. I mean, I know everyone's different, but I'm excited because I'm within the last like 14-pound window of being back to my lowest on carnivore, and then I'm reaching numbers I haven't seen in years.
Yeah.
And that's so exciting. Like, that is a motivator for sure.
Absolutely. And so whenever you're making those decisions, and that's why, again, consistency is more important, because if you let your life be ruled by the intensity with the all in, the all or nothing mentality, that can work against you the same way.
Yeah.
So just be consistent every day. Wake up, tell yourself you got this, you can do this. If you need to write down a daily confession or affirmation or whatever that just says, today I'm going to be healthy, today I'm going to make great choices, today I'm going to eat only things that are good for me, and I'm not going back the way I was. Tell yourself that every day. Bring that out every hour if you need to. You can do this. We've
shared a little bit, I know we've both touched on this on our own channels, but whether you're a Christian or not, or you believe in manifesting or whatever you want to call it, it is proven biblically, scientifically, that your words have power over the outcome of your life. And so if you need to wake up and say, I'm healthy today, I'm making right choices today, I'm going to eat carnivore today, these are the things I'm going to eat. I'm going to eat this, this, and this, and that's all I'm going to eat. And I'm going to drink all my water. I'm feeling great. My body feels great. I literally talk to myself like this all day long.
And be thankful. Be thankful for the things that you have. Be thankful that you have the opportunity to heal your body through food.
Yeah.
You know.
Thank God. That's a natural way.
Not from a hospital bed. You know?
Yeah. So we want to share a little bit about kind of our own personal rock bottoms, because I feel like this is kind of where everyone has a moment or this like launching point that puts things into perspective. Maybe you saw a picture of yourself, or maybe you tried to put something on that you love and couldn't fit into it, whatever it was.
So if you don't know my story, I have been dieting most of my adult life. And so I gained weight pretty rapidly after basically college. I was thin my entire life, and then in a very short period of time put on quite a bit of weight, and then from then on it was a struggle my whole life. And so in the beginning, my motivating factors would be when I would see myself in photos or on video, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that's me, I can't believe it. And that started my dieting journeys. But probably the biggest for me, the biggest rock bottom would be a couple years ago, about a year before I started carnivore. I had to go to the doctor for I was actually, I guess, during COVID. I was going to a music festival, and I had to bring proof that I didn't have COVID. So I had to go to a doctor and get him to write, this thing. He took my blood pressure, as they always do.
Oh God.
And
my biggest enemy, honestly.
And then he took it again, and then he's like, do you monitor, are you on anything for blood pressure? And it was really high. And of course, I'm
Do you remember what it was?
No, because I blocked that out. But it was high. I was consistently in probably the 180s or 190s over like 90 something.
Oh my gosh.
it was up there. I've taken my own blood pressure before and been like, oh, this is bad. But I'm always like, I just need to do better. I need to eat better. I need to cut back. I need to lose some weight. And so in my mind, it was just an easy fix. I would just kind of cut back a little bit. I would do something a little bit better. And I would start taking he gave me a sheet. He's like, I want you to take your blood pressure every day for 2 weeks. I don't think I ever told anybody this, including your mom. I got that little piece of paper, and I started taking the blood pressure, and it's like, yeah, this is concerning. And that was a motivating factor to get on another diet. And so during that time, I probably started doing different kinds of diets. I probably tried to go back to keto. Then then I landed on intermittent fasting, and that was doing well for my weight loss. I did start losing weight, but my blood pressure numbers were not really changing because I was eating pure garbage. I would eat literally anything in the world.
Mom was like a freaking bakery during that time.
Oh yeah.
Girlfriend was making homemade cakes from scratch.
And they were amazing. Her cookies, her homemade cookies were amazing. But I would just eat anything I wanted for one meal. I would eat one meal a day, OMAD, and I did that for probably a couple months, and I did lose weight. My blood pressure wasn't coming down.
Yeah.
And really, for carnivore, if you know my story, I was just flipping through the channels one night, and I actually saw Joe Rogan interviewing Jordan Peterson. Joe Rogan was like, I can't believe all you ate was meat, and your lab work must be terrible. And he was just talking about how well it wasn't. He talked about his daughter Michaela and all of the issues she had, and that's when I'm thinking, wow, what is this? And so I started looking into it because I had heard of paleo before, and I had done, Atkins and different ones before. And so that's when I realized that not only could I use it to lose weight, but maybe Tanya could use it to heal her body.
Yeah.
And that's when we started. The very next day, me and Tanya started, and that was over a year ago now.
Yeah. I did not know the thing about the blood pressure chart.
Oh yeah, I never told you about those things.
Which, tell them what your blood pressure is now.
It's usually 118, 19, sometimes 20 over 60 something or
whatever it's supposed to be and better.
Something.
That's what it is now. Like it didn't even, you hadn't even lost all your weight before you immediately started noticing a change in your blood pressure.
I saw the blood pressure going down, but it probably took me in the first 90 days for sure. My blood pressure got under control.
Yeah.
So but that's not everybody's story, because my brother lost weight and was on it for a good long time, and he was still having to take blood pressure meds, and he still may be taking blood pressure meds. I don't know. It just depends on the person. So I'm not the kind of person that likes to take meds, but I would never tell somebody to stop taking them.
Yeah.
You need to talk to your doctor. You need to do it healthy. But hopefully, if just monitor all of it, and if you're on carnivore, just look at it, because your blood pressure should start going down, and that's what he did. He started cutting back on his meds because the combination of carnivore and his medication, his blood pressure was coming down.
Well, I know for me, it was kind of two things. The first one, I had lost a significant amount of weight with keto, and I shared this in a video last week. I kind of went through my weight loss journey throughout my life, and I had lost a good amount of weight with keto because it was the first time that I ever really cut out carbs and sugar. No other diet had ever done that, and that's when I realized I had insulin resistance. I was pre-diabetic, all this stuff. That was kind of shooting myself in the foot, basically, when I was coming to dieting. For me, it was, I want kids, and there was just no way I was going to be healthy enough if I got pregnant in the first place to carry a pregnancy to term, or if I did carry a pregnancy to term, the amount of weight I would have gained during pregnancy on top of what I weighed, it was just there was no reason to do it in this unhealthy way. And so it prevented my husband and I from trying for kids. We still haven't, because it's like, I don't even want to, I need to get my body under control, but it's funny because I shared this in a video a few weeks ago, but we've been fostering for 3 weeks now, and our daughter, literally, I can't imagine being a parent and not being on carnivore, honestly, because it might not seem like the most convenient way to eat to people who don't do it. I randomly was really sore yesterday. I didn't even tell you this. I was really sore yesterday. I felt under the weather. That might be a normal day for most people, but that is not a normal day on carnivore. I was like, what did I eat? What's wrong with me? All this stuff. I could not figure out what had happened. It made me such a lazy person last night, and I just thinking about, I didn't even want to spend time with her because I was in pain. I wanted to go to sleep, and so it steals so much of your life whenever you're unhealthy. But my real wake-up call was actually after I got off carnivore. I had been off of it for about 2 months. We call this incident my fake heart attack. My husband and I were on vacation. This was last summer at the end of July, maybe early August. We were in North Carolina, and it was our last night of our vacation, and we were going to dinner, and I remember wanting onion rings. I was like, I want onion rings so bad. I love onion rings. You do too. Anyway, so we sit down to a restaurant, and I start feeling like heartburn coming on. And I first had heartburn for the first time in college, and I went to see a doctor, and they basically told me what to eliminate. And so when I would get heartburn, it was very irregular. And I know there's different kinds of heartburn, but the kind I would get, I'd have pain in my diaphragm right here, and it would shoot to my back. I was short of breath, and it was extreme pain. Like I had to hunch over. I'd have to, like, to get rid of this heartburn for me, it's not from like antacids, it's like laying in fetal position on my left side, and like then it alleviates. And so we're sitting in this restaurant and I feel it coming on, and we had ordered appetizers, I had ordered my onion rings, you know, and I'm like, Clint, like I have to go lay down, I feel so sick. And so this lasted, y'all, for like 7 or 8 hours. I hadn't even eaten anything. I was literally, sorry to get so graphic, I was having black diarrhea. I was nauseous. I was laying on the bathroom floor. We're supposed to be leaving the next morning, you know, and we're 16 hours from home, and that pain still wasn't going away. And so I'm laying there and I'm like so pitiful laying on the floor. I'm like so faint. I'm running a fever. I have the chills. I just don't know what to do. I literally think I'm dying. And again, we're hospital avoiders, okay? So Clint has gone to bed. I'm like probably not playing it cool, but in my head, I'm like, I'm playing it so cool. Like he doesn't even know. Not the truth. He was very worried about me. I'm looking up all my symptoms. Of course, I'm on WebMD. I have cancer at this point. You know, like I'm on death's door. Finally, I read women's heart attack symptoms, because one of the things is that there might not be some big event and your left arm might not go numb and all these things. And I checked off like 90% of the symptoms, and how a woman's heart attack may last for hours and they don't realize because there wasn't some significant event. And they kept calling it the Widowmaker, the Widowmaker. And so all I'm thinking is like, I'm gonna die on our trip. And like, I'm gonna leave my husband here like 16 hours away from home, all this stuff. Anyway, can you tell I'm dramatic? So I go in, I wake him up and I'm like, I need to go to the hospital. And that freaked him out because he's never heard those words come out my mouth. I call my dad, I'm like, I don't want to worry.
She's saying her final goodbyes. Yeah, it wasn't like that. It was like, I'm dying, I'm having a heart attack.
Listen,
it's
I'm
like
being so brave.
2-hour drive
never see you again.
or something to the...
It was like a 45-minute drive to the nearest hospital because we were in the mountains.
And this is at like midnight.
Yeah.
And she's calling me and I'm on the phone with you.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole thing. Like I was on the phone with you for probably till like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yes, I was so scared, y'all, and like all I could think of was like, what have I done to my body? Yeah. What have I done? Because I had been so good for 3 months. I felt like everything was under control. I was really, you know, taking ownership of what was happening, and then all I could think of was like, I'm not even surprised. Yeah. I'm not surprised I did this. I'm not surprised this is my body's reaction to how I've been treating it, like trash. So I get to the hospital, I'm still on the phone with him, and like no one's acknowledging me in the emergency room, like, and he's like, tell him you have chest pain. And so I'm literally like, I have chest pain, and I like announce it to the room, and they're like, wait right there. They didn't see me any faster. Anyway, my EKG was fine. All of my blood work came back great. It's actually kind of funny. All of the like things people want to know about carnivore, this was the best my blood work. This was the best my health had ever been. We found out though that I was anemic. I was extremely dehydrated. I was iron deficient, all this stuff, which was ironic because I'd been off carnivore for 2 months. Yeah. So I really wasn't getting a lot of iron. And all of those combinations together caused extreme indigestion. And so I was just having really bad indigestion. I was extremely dehydrated. All that to say, it was such a wake-up call for me. And you know, it's funny because you can have these wake-up calls, and did I do anything about it for months? No, I didn't. And like, I think it just goes back to when you are addicted and you don't have the self-control or that wake-up call, you might have had several and you're still not on it. You know, you
would focus on the good things because you were like, oh, my blood work came back good.
Yeah.
So that to her was a free ticket to keep doing what she was doing.
Yeah.
You know, I was dehydrated, so now I just need to drink more liquids and I'll be fine. I need to add some iron. So it actually gave her permission to continue to do bad, even though she knew that she was destroying her body through her diet.
And at this point, I think I'd only gained like 8 to 10 pounds back. Yeah. Like I hadn't even like really gone off the handle yet.
Yeah.
But still, I was so used to something different. So that was my wake up call. And hopefully you don't have to have a wake up call to make a change.
Let this be your wake up call.
Let this be your wake up call. Well, we know we've covered a lot of ground in this video, and there's so many more coaching episodes to come, but we do kind of just want to end on that idea of learn from other people's wake up calls. Yeah. Learn from my fake heart attack. You know, learn from this yo-yo diet culture of, at the end of the day, isn't it more exhausting to keep failing at something that doesn't work? I mean, that is so discouraging, you know? And so give this a real shot, give Carnivore a real try. And I really believe that you're gonna see results that you haven't seen before. And kind of going back to this whole thing we're talking about, no one's coming to save you. The only person who can make this change is you. But you don't have to be alone when you're doing it. We're here. I read every comment. We talk about you guys all the time. We pray for y'all. And the comment section of these types of videos, people are rooting one another on. So you don't have to have a physical accountability partner to do this successfully. You have us, you have all these people who are in the same boat. Like, we are all in this together. So thank you guys so much for watching. We have many more coaching episodes to come. If there's a topic you'd like us to cover or something that you want to hear more about, please let us know in the comments. But in the meantime, we will see you next week, and thank you for watching.
Goodbye.
Happy birthday, Mike.